Alrighty, so we got a fresh new patch in Helldivers 2 as the 1-year anniversary looms over us. We expected something like this. We also got a new Warbond announced that's coming out February 6th. And lastly, we have a lot of things going on the Galactic Map that are going to be shaping up for a very, very interesting weekend if things keep going as they are. So we're going to go over everything you need to know about all these things and much more. Anyways, let's get into it. Alright, so over here on the Galactic Map, we have quite a few different things going on. So now the Meridian Black Hole is lit up for us to be able to see on the overview map. A couple days ago, all the routes to be able to get to it have gone away, so now we can't access the Meridian Black Hole, which is leading to some interesting things going on with the Illuminate. So now the invasion campaigns say the following: the Illuminate are generating dark energy on this planet, which they are using to move the Meridian Singularity towards Super Earth. They must be stopped at all costs. So now we have this dark energy accumulation thing, which has increased quite a bit since this morning. So with those two things coming into play, it's inevitable that we're going to get a full-scale Illuminate invasion. I'm not sure if this is going to originate down here or what's going to happen, or if we're going to be able to fight on Super Earth. I'm guaranteeing that for the 1-year anniversary, well, not guaranteeing, but I'm speculating that for the 1-year anniversary, that we're gonna probably fight on Super Earth, or maybe in the system, maybe like Mars or something like that. It's gonna be very interesting. I'm actually excited to see what's gonna happen, but for sure, in some form or capacity, we're gonna get the full Illuminate forces with all their bells and whistles, and I'm excited to try that. Okay, so jumping into the patch notes, we've had quite a few changes in here, and I'm not going to go over every single nitty-gritty change, but I'm going to link the full patch notes down in the description below for you to be able to look at on your own. But essentially, the Loyalist ended up getting a magazine increase from 2 to 3, as well as the spare magazines were increased from 4 to 5. Big change for the Loyalist because the magazine capacity and the magazine count for the weapon was definitely in question because it felt like you ran out of ammo so quickly. So this will help alleviate that some. I still wish the magazine was bigger itself, but again, this is actually a good change to give us some better ammo economy. So the Sterilizer and the Guard Dog Breath, say that 20 times fast, ended up getting some changes, which is much needed because these things were borderline useless, and I'm glad that they finally got some changes. So essentially, the Sterilizer removed the crosshair drift recoil, decreased the camera climb recoil, and the duration of the gas effect status was increased from 6 to 10 seconds. So overall, a good change. In my opinion, from trying out the Sterilizer just a little bit, I haven't actually tried it in depth. It's decent. It's a lot better than it was. It definitely went from a D tier to about probably a C or B tier. I feel like it still should be have a higher damage profile, but if you want to have somebody using this for crowd control, or if you want to use it for yourself for crowd control, now it's not bad because it does last quite a while, which is nice. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, it's just, there's so many things that are better in this particular category, but I am glad to see it's definitely improved from where it was. So as for the Dog Breath, this definitely got the most changes, and honestly, it's now borderline S tier, if not a very solid A+ tier stratagem in the game. So the thing about this thing that was annoying was that it stayed too close to you and didn't really venture off too far whenever you were encountering enemies. So now they've increased the targeting range for this thing from 10 to 20 meters. Absolutely fantastic. This thing will run off and actually do some good crowd control for you, in front of you, behind you, wherever. This thing is going to keep enemies off of you, which is absolutely fantastic. So this is very, very much needed improvement. So they ended up fixing the targeting for this thing, which was another huge issue, meaning that instead of it just staying on one enemy and covering it with gas constantly until it died, now it's going to actually bounce from multiple enemies to multiple enemies, meaning that when a target has the gas effect, essentially it's going to move to the next enemy until each one of them has the gas effects and keeps kind of cycling around enemies. Absolutely fantastic change, because on top of the extra range is going to pepper all the enemies around you, and it's kind of like having a gas grenade that's always active, so to speak. It's really, really nice, and I absolutely love this thing now. And then lastly, the duration of the gas effect was increased from 6 to 10 seconds, just like the Sterilizer. So in general, again, the Guard Dog Breath is a really, really good stratagem now, and I can't wait to actually try this a little bit more, but I did do a full dive with it, and it made it so much easier, and survivability was great, because this thing is not only going to affect the medium and light level units, it's going to affect a lot of the heavy units, especially on the bug side. It's very, very good overall. So just like I thought with the armor passives, they were going to fix Siege Ready initially because it wasn't working right. It was only supposed to affect primary weapons, but because people loved the fact that it affected basically every weapon with a magazine, they wanted it to stay because this was made the anti-material rifle have more ammo, machine guns have more ammo, made everything reload faster. People love this freaking perk, and last thing they wanted to do is have a bunch of backlash. So Luckily, they listened to us and they kept Siege Ready working exactly as it is now. We got a lot of changes to how the mines work in the game. So all the mines got a flat 1 minute decrease on their cooldown, which is absolutely fantastic, meaning they can be used more often, which is great. Honestly, I wouldn't even be bothered if this dropped down to like 90 seconds, drop another 30 seconds off of it, because these things are not that overpowered, and just having them come back even faster, meaning they have more utility on various missions, would be a little bit better. But I think the flat 1 minute cooldown decrease is very, very strong for all these. So both the anti-personal and the incendiary mines had their damage increased. The anti-personal had their damage increased from 350 to 700, which is ludicrous. That is so strong now, which is very good. And then the incendiary mines had their damage increased from 210 to 300. And both of these mines had their deployment spread of mines increased by 20% to minimize the risk of chain explosions. Absolutely fantastic change, so that way we're not wasting a bunch of mines from this. So overall, good changes there, and I really did enjoy that a lot, that they actually focused in on making the mines a little bit more useful. So we also got a change to the ballistic shield, and now it actually blocks melee attacks, which is fantastic. It's a change that I've wanted for quite a while, because while I enjoyed the ballistic shield, it was frustrating that it doesn't block melee, but now it does. Now, I haven't played with this myself, but I've seen quite a few people play with it. So against the heavier units, it's going to destroy the shield much faster, obviously, because you're taking bigger hits. And then the other thing too is that against the smaller units, it's going to be much more effective, and actually in some cases, depending on if it's a light unit, it will not affect the shield hardly at all. And the medium units can hit it for quite a while before it actually destroys. Now, when it's on your back, it doesn't seem to take any damage, which is absolutely fantastic. I was actually surprised about that. The one big thing is, just like the mines, they need to decrease the cooldown of this now, because it can break pretty easily overall, and then you're out of a stratagem for 2 minutes, which is ridiculous. So I really think it should be around 60 seconds, if not 45, because you should have these pretty frequently available, to where that way you can swap them out, very similar to an EAT. Because it's an expendable, I think it's worth it. So overall, very, very good change, and the ballistic shield is definitely going in the right direction. But yeah, lower that cooldown and I think it will be borderline perfect. Lastly, we had a couple of changes to the FRV to make it not only handle better, so it's actually going to be a little bit easier to drive, but now Helldivers can actually deploy grenades and stratagems while leaning out of the FRV. Super fun. I can't wait to try this out and have people throwing stuff out of this thing. Some noteworthy things in the fixes category is that now when you pick up health packs off the ground, they do restore Helldivers full stim, so that way you don't get 2, you get actually 4, or whatever half is. It's actually a very nice change. They fixed arc weapons reliability of hitting impaler tentacles, so this is going to be really good for being able to chain kill some of these little tentacles. That's very, very awesome in my opinion. The B1 supply pack now finally freaking provides stims to other players, so that way you can actually give your team full resupplies. That's really, really awesome in my opinion. Fixed a bug where players could get stuck in the anti-tank emplacement, but after depleting its ammunition. That was very annoying. I actually had somebody get stuck and actually couldn't evac earlier the other day, and it just was freaking annoying. I'm glad they fixed that, because it was awful. Unfortunately, they removed the snake thing where you can get that glitch where you're snaking across the ground. That is no longer in the game, but they did give us this buff to being able to carry things with 2 hands. So like the artillery shells, we're now able to run with those, which is very nice as well. But yeah, it's kind of a give and take there. So quite a few changes here. Obviously, the one that I was personally excited about, and many other people are, is the guard dog breast changes, because that thing is really, really good now, and it's very effective. And I hope that they still keep giving the sterilizer some love, because it has so much potential and it's going in the right direction. But again, some really good changes in today's patch. So we did get a new Warbond announced. You're gonna be able to see the trailer right now on screen, but essentially this thing is going to be freaking awesome in my opinion, because there's going to be quite a few things that are really cool. So one of the first things that you notice toward the end of this trailer is that we got a backpack hell bomb announced. This thing is going to be really cool. This is a expendable item, so you're going to be able to arm this and drop it, or you can keep it on if you want to have a moment, go out in a blaze of glory. So this thing is going to be really cool. I'm really curious to see how much penetration this thing's going to have in terms of its overall utility, if it's going to operate like a true hell bomb and be able to destroy many of the objectives, such as the Eye of Sauron or the command bunkers or something like that, because that would be really cool. Instead of you having to call down a regular hell bomb, have this backpack on, run in, and then just drop it and go. It's going to be very good for that. I'm also curious about the cooldown, if it's going to actually be fast or if it's going to be a long cooldown, because this is obviously a big piece of equipment. So I don't know. We have a lot of questions about this, but I really like the creativeness of this, because it's really, really cool overall. So we're going to get 2 new weapons added to the game, and starting off with the first one is the LAS-17 double-edged sickle. So this thing is really interesting. It's basically, obviously, a sickle variant, and this thing is not going to need to be reloaded from what I understand. And what's going to happen is it's going to overheat, and as it overheats and gets to its maximum heat, it will start burning you as a Helldiver. Now, I'm not sure if you're actually going to catch fully on fire, or if it's going to be like a passive damage over time effect. We'll see when it comes out. So the damage profile of this thing was leaked by Iron Sights, and I'm not going to really go into too much of his leaks, but I am going to read the stat breakdown for you. So the stat breakdown is going to be 55 damage overall. The fire limit is going to be 15. The recoil is 2 recoil, which is nothing, and the fire rate overall is going to be 700. And the penetration, unfortunately, is light armor penetration, which I kind of expected because it's a laser weapon, but very interesting weapon, and I'm curious to see how this is going to actually play in the overall meta of the game. So the secondary item we got is called the GP31 Ultimatum. Essentially, this is a bigger, badass version of a grenade pistol. Basically, it's like a mini nuke grenade launcher that you hold in your secondary slot. It's really ridiculous. So the range of this thing is not going to be very good, which means it's probably going to have a high arc, but it's going to have a really, really powerful explosion. So I'm wondering how effective this thing is going to be against like chargers and other variations like that. But from the trailer, it looks like it's going to be absolutely incredible in my opinion. So the stat breakdown for this weapon was also leaked by Iron Sights. It's going to be a damage of 4,500. The capacity is 1, so that means it's going to need to be reloaded every time, which is fine. The recoil is 43, and the fire rate is 900 rounds per second. And the armor penetration is medium, and it is a one-handed weapon, which is great. So I'm immensely curious to see how this thing is going to be. I think it'd be kind of a waste to use this to close up bug holes and things like that, but I imagine it'll be able to do those things. But I want to try this thing out on chargers and hulks and all those various things like that. It's going to be really, really cool overall. So we did get one new equipment item with this Warbond, and it is called the G50 Seeker Grenade. So essentially this thing is going to be a flying grenade that's going to fall around and seek targets. Now, I'm not sure if this thing is going to fully seek by itself. From what I understand, it can do that, but you can also mark targets for it to go and destroy. So I'm not sure if it's going to need to wait for you to mark something or whatever, but it's gonna be really interesting. So the damage profile of this grenade is going to be 400, the penetration is 4, and it has medium armor penetration. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this thing is in action, but it looks really, really cool overall. We're also getting a slew of new armors with this Warbond, and on top of that, we are getting a new armor passive. The armor passive is called Integrated Explosive. Armor explodes 1.5 seconds after the wearer dies. This armor looks really, really cool. The passive is kind of weird. Now, I don't really like things that happen post-mortem, meaning you're dead already, so it's going to happen. So I don't really know the overall utility of this, but if you want to go out and blaze the glory, it's cool. And if you want to just wear it because it looks freaking awesome, that's cool as well. So I wish it was something different, but I mean, it's fine for what it is. We'll have to see how it works when the Warbond actually comes out, but yeah, it's going to be interesting overall. But yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know about what's coming out and what's going on currently in the game. I'm probably not going to do another update on this stuff until the Warbond comes out. You're going to see some videos of me going over the various weapons and all the various things we get in the Warbond. And then I'm also going to do an update once we see what happens when the dark matter thing fills up and when hopefully the illuminate fully invade and a whole bunch of other things. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, and let me know what you're excited about with everything going on with the 1-year anniversary coming up. But anyways, guys, I will catch you in the next video. Peace.